Hello everyone, I have my November book reviews. I went through 7 books in November. I had to do a lot of traveling in November, so while my husband was driving, I was doing a lot of reading, so that's where most of my reading came in this month. So yeah, I got through 7 books. I had a very good reading month. So I will start with the book that probably was my least favorite of the month. Picked this up for $1.50 at the thrift store, and this was The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon. And this is told by the point of view of a 15-year-old autistic teenager. Now, this wasn't really a thriller. It was more family drama, and I'm just, it's not my favorite trope. I'm just not really into family drama stories too much. Especially contemporary ones. Historical, yeah, but I don't know. This one just, it was interesting seeing the point of view of this autistic child. Autism has such a wide spectrum. He does have Asperger's. So what happens is he gets up one morning and he finds that his neighbor dog has been killed. Someone has driven like a garden spade or fork or something through it, and he is bound and determined to find out who killed this dog. But like I said, it's not really a thriller. You find out not even halfway through the story who killed the dog. It is interesting seeing the point of view of this child, though there's some pretty slow, well, it was kind of a slow book in general. But he would explain how he solved this math problem. It would take up 2 pages. I have no math brain, so I just kind of skimmed over that. So yeah, it was just a family drama. And what really kind of irked me was that the fact that this poor dog was killed, and they find out who did it, and it was just brushed off like it was no big deal, and you know. Which, like, hello, if someone did that to my dog, look out. But yeah, it was okay. It was about 220 pages. If it was any longer, I think I would have DNF'd this. It was just, I don't know, I cared about the autistic teenager in the story. He seemed very sweet, very smart, but the rest of the characters, I couldn't care less about, really. Now, one that probably I would say this was a 5-star read for me was Hannah Kent, and this is Burial Rites. I did read a previous story of hers called Good People, which took place in 18th century Ireland, and how people in the sort of isolated areas of Ireland depended more on healers and superstition, etc., and because they just didn't have a lot of access to doctors and that. It was such a good story, such a good one. So I was excited to try another Hannah Kent, and this is Burial Rites. So this, I believe Hannah Kent is an Australian author, so she actually found out when she was younger, she went on a trip to Iceland, and she found out about the specific crime case. And she actually spent some time in Iceland and to sort of get the feel of the atmosphere and that sort of thing. So this is based on a true story. It's speculative fiction because we truly don't know what happened, but she's speculating what could have happened and what kind of dialogue would be happening between these characters. So this woman and this gentleman were charged with murdering these 2 men in an isolated area in Iceland. And they didn't have jails per se back then, so this woman called Agnes, she goes to this family to stay with them and just help with chores, etc., until her execution. So it's just a fascinating, atmospheric kind of novel. It's definitely a slow burn. You know what's going to happen in the end because they already tell you that Agnes is the last person in Iceland to be executed. So you know she's going to be executed at the end. But you kind of find out what her background is, or at least the author's presumption of what her background is. And you kind of wonder, is she innocent or guilty? But I thoroughly enjoyed this. It was just such a fascinating novel, and I definitely give this one 5 stars. I would like to read some more of her books. I'm going to see which other one she has written. Another good book I really enjoyed was by Allie Griffiths, and this is a Ruth Galloway mystery. And this is The Crossing Places. So this is the first book in the Ruth Galloway series. I think there's 10 or 11 books or so, and I have gotten a couple more of these. This is the first book in the series. So Ruth Galloway is actually a forensic archaeologist, and in this particular case, she is helping this police officer with a missing child case. They do find some bones, and it's determined that those bones are about 2,000 years old, but they still haven't found this missing child, and there is a link between the child that they did find that was about 2,000 years old and this present day missing child. So yeah, it was actually a very good book. I did actually guess who took the missing child fairly early on. She did try to divert my attention to other people quite well, but I kind of stuck to my guns, and I was right. But it still, I didn't really take away from the story or anything like that. But yeah, I really actually did enjoy it. And I've heard from some reviews that her books just keep getting better and better and better. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to some more of hers. And that takes place in Norfolk, and yeah, I really do like her character. She's kind of a loner and an introvert, kind of like me. She just likes to be alone and just do her kind of thing. So I really do like her character. And I finally got around to reading Gone Girls, and I got this for like $3 in a thrift store. I was kind of holding off watching the movie because I usually prefer the novels. I find that you get more insight into what the characters are thinking. So yeah, this actually, I would probably give this probably about 4 out of 5 stars. The first 100 pages, I was just like, oh my God, this is a whole book going to be like this, because these two characters, the husband and wife, are just so narcissistic. It's just so irritating beyond belief. But anyway, his wife does go missing, and is just trying to figure out what's happened to her. I did figure out the plot twist, the initial plot twist fairly early on. The other plot twists are like real zingers. But yeah, it was actually a pretty good book. I wasn't sure if I was going to enjoy it too much or not. But yeah, the characters were totally irritating. But yeah, lots of plot twists and turns and that. And then this is Lisa Jewell. Then She Was Gone. So this woman's daughter disappeared about 10 years ago, disappeared without a trace. And then she starts dating a gentleman whose daughter looks quite similar to her own daughter. So you find out actually, I can't remember, it was about halfway through or so, you find out what happened to her daughter. And I think that's kind of on purpose, just to sort of increase the tension. But yeah, even finding out kind of what happened to her, it made the rest of the story was quite interesting. I would probably give it about 3.8 out of 5 stars, though, just because some of the twists in that were kind of predictable in that, but I did like the characters in that, so it was pretty good actually. This is Minette Walters, The Turn of Midnight. Now, she usually does crime novels, so sort of like murder mysteries and that sort of thing. This is a sequel to The Last Hours. And this takes place in the 13th century during the Black Plague. Now, the first novel, the prequel to this, The Last Hours, actually takes place in this village, and there's a manor house, and it just, how they dealt with the plague and how they're going to keep everyone safe, etc., etc. And one of the main characters is sort of the mistress of the manor, and she kind of, she's very intelligent, very smart, and she is able to save the people, most of the people in the village and that sort of thing. And it's just how they coped with not knowing, because there's no, hey, it's 13th century, there's no social media, no one knows what's going on outside the village. So some of them do travel outside the village just to see what's going on and to get some supplies. It's a slow burn, nothing overly exciting, but I love history. I'm kind of obsessed for some reason about the plague times and that sort of thing. But this story, I didn't enjoy it quite as much, but it was still pretty good. Again, it was just a very slow-paced story about the plague has kind of went past their village and is making its way inland, and how they've coped with the after effects. And because so many people have died off, they're wondering who's going to farm the lands and who's going to, there's just so few people, who's going to do these jobs, who's going to take over the land, etc. So it's more, I wouldn't say political, but how they're going to cope with things after the plague and that. So yeah, pretty slow burn, but I do love my history, and I actually really got into the characters, really want to make sure they were okay after. And this is The Witchfinder's Sister by Beth Underwood. So this is based on a actual character, Matthew Hopkins. So he was a Witchfinder General back in England in 1645. So this woman gets married, and she goes to London to live with her husband, but unfortunately he passes away, and she has no choice because she has no parents or anything like that left. She has no choice but to go back to live with her brother, who she hasn't seen for quite a few years. And she finds out he is this Witchfinder General, and he's going around from town to town, and she's upset because he's basically putting on trial these women who are innocent, of course, of witchcraft. So she is trying to stop him, but he's a little bit crazy, and so she's finding ways of trying to find out why he became the man he was and why he is doing this to all these innocent women and children and that. So again, a very slow burn, but I love history. And there is, I mean, there's no big plot twist or turns or anything like that. It kind of goes back and forth from the past to present, because she's trying to figure out why he became this person that he is, and why he is so bound and determined to put on trial so many of these women and children and a few men, and put them to death. So it's very interesting to go back and see what their childhood is like, and why he became the person he is, and that sort of thing. So yeah, I really did enjoy it. I would give this about a 4 out of 5 stars. And that's it. That is my reading for the month of November. So yeah, I really did enjoy, for the most part, all those books, except that one where the dog got killed. Anyway, so Yeah, I think I'm on my third book this month. I'm reading Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney right now, and I'm really actually enjoying it. I got a lot of winter-themed books on the go right now. A lot of them take place during snowstorms or blizzards or during an avalanche in the Alps. So anyway, that's it. Let me know if you've read any of these or what you're enjoying right now. And everyone take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.